I think when we looked at our front board, this is the most number of players we have that we think are draftable. I don't think every team has, 234 draft picks that say 234 players are draftable. But I know from our board this year and the way it's developed, the depth of talent, especially on the offensive, defensive lines, are one of the probably strongest I've seen in a while. So I know on Thursday, Friday, and those two picks Friday as of today, that you should be able to land some players who can come in and make an impact on your roster.
With all the big contracts that you've signed in recent years, how much more importance does that place on either additional draft picks or really being good in the later rounds?
We've always put a point of emphasis on that, and I know with how top-heavy our roster is right now with the contracts we have out there, these players that we're bringing in have to come in and contribute. And, you know, all these players that do have these big contracts were basically brought in, developed, and then received it. So I think the process we have in place and us working hand in hand with the coaches, which I think is vital. In fact, the coaches were back in again. We're bringing them in position by position, and the coordinators going through everything one more time because of the importance of the draft classes that are coming in being able to contribute. And this coaching staff does a phenomenal job of developing these guys, because that's going to be the guys, if we do get anyone hurt, those are the guys that are going to line up and play for you.
Since Coach Kubiak came in, does that change the draft strategy at all because he likes a certain type of offensive player? Or?
I think it's Kevin Stefanski, but I know with what he's changed and the influence of Gary Kubiak and the style of offense we're going to run, along with Rico Dennison at the offensive line position, there are traits that we're looking for. So as we talk about each one of these players, some players are going to be very good players, but they may not be very good players in what we're going to require them to do from a schematic standpoint. So everybody talks about the zone scheme versus a gap scheme, and just to clarify, gap guys are more road graders moving forward, double teams. Zone scheme guys are going to be more athletic, being able to work at the second level, out to the linebackers, being able to do outside zone, have to run laterally. So there's a point of emphasis on specific traits we're looking for to run what they're going to run offense. And when you can get on the same page with the coaches, where we recognize this guy is a good player, but he may be a really good starter in this scheme, but he may not be a really good starter in another scheme. So you have to marry that up, and that's why it's so important for us on the personnel side to understand what the requirements are for these players at their position. And that's just from the football side. Now, all the other things that we look for have to check the boxes as well.